Hi friends! Do you notice I might be somewhere a little bit different? Maybe in front of a big school bus? Right here with my friend, Mr. Brian.
Hi, boys and girls.
We're going to take a tour of this school bus. We're gonna learn all about a school bus if you've never been on one. Because it might be a little scary seeing it for the first time because it might be a little big, right? It's taller than I am, taller than Mr. Brian. It's a big school bus, so we're gonna learn all about it. And Mr. Brian, you're kind of a pro at school buses, aren't you?
I kind of am. I'm in charge of the school buses here at Utica Community Schools, so I kind of know my way around a bus, and I'm gonna help you today figure out how to be the safest driver or safest rider you can.
Perfect. So, Mr. Brian, we were talking a little bit about maybe figuring out what one is your school bus, right? Because there's a lot of school buses that might be going around on the first day of school, right?
Yep, and it can be very confusing when you see all those buses on the road and you want to make sure you get on that right bus. So what we do is we give a bus a number. And as you can see this number right here, this is bus 316, and then it has a dash and a 21 here at the bottom. This tells you what year the bus was made, so this is a fairly newer bus. The number on top is the number really that you want to be looking for. This is bus 316, so if you are on bus 316, that's the number you want to look for to get on the correct bus.
Now, let's say I get on the correct bus, I go to school, and once I'm leaving school, I may forget which one my bus is.
That's okay, that happens all the time. So what you can do is when you come to the door of the bus, there's a bus driver sitting here, and you can ask the bus driver, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be on this bus or not, and the bus driver has a list of all the students that should be on that bus, and they can tell you if you're at the right bus or not. And if you're not at the right bus, they'll help you find the right bus.
So it's not as scary as it might seem.
It's really not as scary as you think, nope.
Yeah, and bus drivers are pretty cool, right?
My bus drivers are the friendliest bus drivers in Macomb County. I love my bus drivers, and you will too.
They have a really important job. They're not only making sure we're going to school, they have to make sure that we're safe going to school, right?
That is correct, yep. They have to follow all of the same rules that all the other cars on the road have to follow, and they make sure that you are as safe as possible getting from your house to your school, and from your school back to your house, and sometimes going on a field trip.
Ooh, yeah, those are the best times to get on the bus,
that's
right?
Those are the best times.
Yeah, when we're on our way to the zoo, that's always fun.
You got it, you got it.
Now, Mr. Brian, you were telling me that we always want to walk in front of a bus,
That is
right?
correct. Anytime you are ever having to cross a road in front of a bus, you want to make sure of a couple things. One, you want to make sure the bus is completely stopped and not moving. You want to watch the bus driver through the window because they'll signal for you when to go. They have these wonderful things called crossover mirrors. And these crossover mirrors help them see around the bus completely so they know if cars are coming by when they shouldn't be. So they know when it's safe for you to cross the road. And then you would walk across the road out in front of the bus where the driver can see you, and you'll walk this way. And as you see, we've got our stop arm out. It's blinking red right now. That means that traffic has to stop. They can't pass around the bus, and it's safe for you to cross the road.
So, Mr. Brian, there's a lot of cool things about buses, right?
There is a lot of cool things about buses. There's even some cool things that you don't even get to see about buses that we're going to teach you about today.
So what are some secrets about our bus?
So one of the secrets is the engine underneath the bus is a diesel engine. That means it doesn't run on gasoline, it runs on a different fuel called diesel. And those diesel engines have to be a little bit warmer for them to run efficiently. So in the winter time, if you see these buttons here, we put something over the front of this grill, and that helps keep the heat inside the engine to keep that engine running more efficiently for us. So that's kind of a neat feature for our buses that people don't realize.
Yeah, because we don't have to do that to our cars.
We don't have to do that to our cars, that's correct. Another really cool feature of our bus, if we walk this way, you'll look down at our tires here. We have these tire indicators, and if you notice, all the tire indicators are all pointing in the same direction. If one of those indicators is hanging down or it's pointing in a different direction, that means that that lug nut on that tire is not very tight, and we have to bring it into our big garage to have our mechanics tighten it back up, so our tires are always safe on our buses.
Wow. Especially those are some really big tires.
Those are some very big tires, yep. Those are bigger tires than what you'll see on Mom and Dad's car for sure. If you look at our bus, you'll see our stop arm, but if you notice on school buses, they have those black stripes that run down the sides of the buses.
Yeah, what does that mean, Mr. Bryan?
So what it means is, this black stripe right here indicates the bottom of your bus. So it indicates where the bus kind of goes underneath. This black line right here is actually for our police and our firefighters to know where the actual floor of the bus is at. So the floor of the inside of the bus is right here. This black line indicates where the seat of the bus is at. So if there was ever an emergency on a bus and our firefighters or our policemen had to get in through the side of the bus somehow, they know where those pieces of the bus are at, and then this indicates the bottom rail of our window.
That's really cool. So it's not just decoration.
It's not just decoration, it actually serves a purpose.
Yes, not just zebra stripes on a bus.
That's right.
I like that.
That is exactly right, yep. If you notice here, we have a little antenna.
Oh.
This antenna helps with our radio communications, so anywhere we're at in the district, our bus drivers can call into our dispatch if there's a problem, if they're caught in traffic, if there's an accident somewhere. They can call into our dispatch and have two-way communications with our dispatch. So we always know where our kids are at and that they're safe. We have emergency exit windows. So if there was ever an emergency on the bus, our students will be trained. You'll go through some training when you get to your school this year on how to use those emergency windows, how to pull them down, how to pop them out, in case we ever had to do an emergency evacuation off the bus. There is either, depending on the bus style that you have, either emergency exits in the windows and in the back, or there's sometimes emergency exit hatches on the roof. Yep. This is our emergency exit door in the back. Now I will tell you that, boys and girls, you definitely do not want to be playing around the door, because if you were to open the latch from the inside or the outside, there's a loud alarm that would go off, and it would signal to the driver that the door is open, and they would have to immediately pull over. So we always tell our students to be safe, keep your hands and feet away from the door at all times.
Yeah.
Yep. Now we have the entrance to our school bus.
The actual door.
The actual door.
Now these are pretty cool doors. I like that they open, but do we open the doors?
You do not open the doors. So when you're at the bus stop, you would wait at the bus stop at a safe distance away from the bus, and the driver will pull up. The driver has to do an emergency stop. They have to push in their brake, their emergency brake, so the bus can't roll anywhere. And then they will open the doors. And once those doors open, then I can walk forward and get onto the bus and get on safely.
Oh, nice.
Yep, the driver will always greet you with a good morning or have a great day, and that's kind of your signal to get onto the bus.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Bryan, now that we've learned all about the outside of the bus, can we take a look inside the bus?
Let's take a look inside.
Yes.
Now make sure you watch your step coming on.
Perfect. Nice and slow.
Nice and slow, use those handrails. That's right.
All right, now we're inside of the bus. We're gonna go over maybe a few rules and things we need to know for being on the bus,
Yep.
right?
Very important to be safe while we're on the bus as well. So the first and most important thing, boys and girls, for you to remember is that when you're on the bus, you need to be in your seat. That's really, really important. And when I say in your seat, what I mean is you want your bottoms on the seat cushion, you want your backpacks in your lap, and you want your back flat against the back of the seat. And the reason for that is our school buses don't have seat belts. So we want to make sure that we are in the safest position possible if anything were to ever happen while we were on the school bus. And the safest position is your bottom on the seat pad, your back flush against the back of the seat, and your backpack in your lap or on the floor between your legs. That's the safest place for you to be while you're on the bus.
That makes sense. So we don't want anything where we're on like our knees or while the
Correct.
bus is going to turn around and maybe talk to one of our friends.
Correct. And I understand that talking to your friends is incredibly important and that you're going to want to do that, or you're going to want to sit with your feet out in the aisle to give yourself some more room. But it's really important to keep your feet inside the seat, because if there was ever an emergency and the driver had to get from the front of the bus to the back of the bus, we need to keep the aisleway clear. We do have students that ride our buses that have allergies. You know, there could be a foodborne allergy or a bee sting could happen somewhere in the back of the bus with our windows being open in the nice fall or spring days. And we want to make sure that our drivers can get from the front of the bus to the back of the bus in case there was an emergency at any point.
So keeping this clear is important, but what if I want to get up while the bus is moving and I want to just switch seats so I can be with my other friend?
I understand the importance of wanting to be close to your friends, and that's why we have all day at school to do those things, but when we're on the bus and we're in our seats, we have to stay in our seats. We can't get up and move around the bus. Think about if you were in your car and you were trying to crawl around the seats and crawl from the front to the back, it would distract mom or dad driving the car. Same thing happens with our drivers. If we have kids crawling over seats or trying to walk up and down the aisles, it distracts our bus drivers, and their number one focus is to keep their eyes on the road. So, yep, got to stay in your seats, got to stay with that bottom on the seat cushion, back against the back, and backpack between your legs or on your lap.
That
really,
makes
really
sense.
important.
Yeah, and speaking of like other rules that we might have in the cars too, I know when I'm in the car, my mom always tells me not to stick my hands out the window.
Yep.
I see we have windows here.
We do have windows, and sometimes the drivers, if it's a warm day, the drivers will let students put the windows down. So yep, just pull those levers and it'll slide down. You never, ever, ever want to put anything outside the window. Trucks could be coming by, cars could be coming by. A big bug could fly by and hit in the hand and it could hurt, or a rock could come off of another tire and hurt. You want to keep all hands, arms, and body parts inside the window, and you want to keep all of your things that you have with you inside the bus. We don't ever throw something outside the window. We do have cameras on our buses, so we can see what kids are doing. We can go back and look at that videotape if kids are doing something inappropriate, and we can have those discussions with parents if we need to.
Okay, so the windows we're able to use if our bus driver gave us permission to.
That is correct.
We can have them down.
Yep.
But we can't be sticking our hands out
That's
or
correct.
throwing our piece of gum out.
That's correct. No throwing
or
anything
like
out the
that.
window. Yep.
Okay.
Pretend it's, you can put it down, but pretend it's up and nothing can go outside that window.
Oh, I like that. Okay,
Yep.
that sounds good. So arms and hands stay in the bus at all times.
That is correct.
We're not moving around.
Yep.
We're not running around on the bus.
That's correct.
And that we always have, you know, the cameras watching, but we have the bus drivers who are there too, right?
We have the bus drivers as well. And if you ever have a problem, you can always say to your bus driver, Miss Crystal, I have an issue. You can raise your hand like you do in class, and Miss Crystal can look up in her mirror and sort of talk to you through her mirror.
I like that. So that giant mirror there is not for Miss Crystal to kind of check her makeup. She's there looking for something important, right?
Miss Crystal's makeup always looks great, so she knows that she can just look and check on the students.
That's perfect, and that's why it's such a big mirror,
That's right.
Yep.
Yep.
So that she can see all the way
to the
back too.
You got it.
Okay.
Yep.
So Miss Crystal's not only paying attention to us when we're on the bus, but even once we're done on the bus, you said that she has something special she has to do all the way back there.
She does, and boys and girls, this one's really important for mom and dad to know, because a lot of parents with their first time having their kids ride their bus, they always think, oh, what if my student gets left on the bus? We have safety features to prevent that from happening. So anytime Miss Crystal or any of our bus drivers lets the last student off their bus before they can shut their bus down for the day, they have to walk to the back of the bus and they look at every seat. They scan every seat, and they have a button they have to push back here. And they push this button, and then they can go up and shut the bus off and open their doors, and the alarms won't go off. If they don't do that, that button sends an alarm up to the front of the bus to tell the driver, you didn't check your seats yet. So that's a safety feature that we've built on all of the buses to make sure that we don't ever have a student that's left behind.
All right, so Mr. Bryan, I know we went over some of the emergency exits on the outside of the bus, but now that we're inside,
Absolutely.
Can we take a look at some of them?
We sure can, yep. So boys and girls, you know, the safety is the key piece of this whole thing that we're doing today. We're talking about how to be safe on a bus. We have emergency exits that we showed you outside, but we'll show them to you on the inside. They're marked right here by an emergency exit do not block sign. And then it has an emergency handle here on the window. And that will actually remove the window to help students get out of the bus safely. Now, we have several emergency exits around the bus. We have two that are here built into our roof as well. They're called roof hatches. And then we have the most important one, which is our emergency exit door here in the back. This is the door that I told you on the outside, don't ever want to put your hands or feet anywhere near that door. When we start school, your teachers will work with your principals, who will work with me to schedule some time for you to practice an emergency evacuation on a bus. We have all of our students in the district, our kindergartners through our 12th graders, practice emergency evacuations on the bus. And we set some time aside. We pull the buses into the school parking lot where they're nice and safe. We have all the students get on their buses, and then the driver walks through and explains how to use each of the emergency exits properly. And then we open the emergency exit door and we have you practice an emergency exit through the back of the bus. Another feature that your driver may do is teach you how to use the radio on the bus in case there was ever an emergency with the driver. You could grab that radio and know how to use it to call into our dispatch, and then our dispatch can call the police and get you some assistance as quickly as possible.
I know that we just went over a bunch of safety things for inside of the bus and even being outside of the bus.
Yep.
But I was hoping and wondering, could we maybe practice what it would be like waiting at the bus stop for the bus?
Of course, yep. Waiting at the bus stop is equally as important as riding on the bus, and learning how to behave and how to control ourselves at the bus stop is a great thing to learn. So let's head there next.
All right, Mr. Brian, I see we have our bus here, right?
We do. We're here at our bus stop. So as you can see, our driver's gonna pull up. She's gonna activate her emergency brakes. You hear that loud noise. She'll open the door and we are ready to enter onto the bus.
Now I have to wait when the bus is fully stopped, right?
That is
before
correct.
I start just coming up,
That
right?
is correct. If you notice, while we're at the bus stop, we are actually standing on someone's property. So a couple things I want to talk to you about that before we get onto our bus. This is someone's house, and they are graciously allowing us to use their driveway as one of our bus stops to pick up our students. But because of that, we have to remember, we can't leave garbage around, we can't be horsing around, we can't be touching their cars or going up to their house. We just have to stand here and wait quietly and patiently for our bus to roll up. Now, if you notice, I'm standing near the end of the driveway, almost to the street. What I would recommend to my students is that we actually wait up near the sidewalk a little bit. If I'm on the sidewalk, that gives me enough clearance from the street to be safe in case cars are coming by while I'm waiting, in case people are trying to get to work in the morning or get home from work in the afternoon. We have enough room for those cars to go by. Once our bus rolls up, it stops. She activates her air brakes, and you heard that loud noise. She'll open her door. At that point, I can actually leave my spot and I can start to walk towards the bus. She has her red light blinkers on, so no traffic is allowed to drive by her at any point. And now I am safe to get onto my bus, say hi to my bus driver, climb on my bus, find my seat, and I'm ready to go to school.
That's perfect. So we don't want to rush up. We don't want to wait in the street.
That's right.
And then we wait for the bus to completely stop, doors to open, then we go on.
That's right. The farther away you can wait from the street, the better off and the safer you're going to be.
Now, our bus picks us up at the bus stop, and then it also can drop us off here, right?
It does drop us off, and the same process will happen. The bus has to come to a complete stop. The driver has to activate her air brakes or her emergency brakes so the bus can't move anywhere. She'll open the doors, and then we can stand up out of our seat and safely exit out of the bus. The driver will wait until you are at the sidewalk before she closes her doors, turns off her lights, and drives away.
That's amazing. So I feel now like I know a lot about the bus. I have a lot of knowledge about the bus now. I know about the bus stop, how to wait, where to wait.
Yep.
I'm feeling good about it.
Good, I'm glad to hear that. And now, because you've learned all the things about riding the bus safely, you are ready to go to school.
Yes. And I think all our friends are at
and
home
all of our
already.
friends at home are ready to go to school as well.
So we'll see you there on the first day.
We'll see you on the first day. Bye, everybody.
Bye.